आपने आप बोले ना मुझे
यहाँ पर थी क्या बोलते भेलपुरी खाली थी मेरा पति साइड में था एक इंसान है उसने उसको गोली मार दी
यहाँ पे
उसने बोला कि शायद मुस्लिम नहीं है उसने उसको गोली मार
In my last video, I talked about how India's air defense, electronic warfare, and systems integration are vastly superior to that of Pakistan. And now we have seen that superiority unfold in real time. India's air defense performance, especially during the recent escalation, appears to be on par or in some ways even better than Israel's Iron Dome. Why, you ask? Because unlike Israel, which has to defend a compact area, India must defend over 600,000 square kilometers alongside its western and northwestern border. That's an immense operational challenge, yet India handled it with a remarkable precision. So far, we have witnessed 4 intense days of military action, and with that came flood of propaganda, fake news, some legitimate and lots of illegitimate analysis. It's been chaotic, but also very revealing. These 4 days have shown us the raw, unfiltered look at actual military capabilities of both the nations. In this video, I will summarize what happened, then we will analyze how both military performed, what remains of their strength after 4 days, and finally, we will talk about what led to this sudden ceasefire. Also, some suggestions for both the militaries. On May 7th, India launched Operation Sindoor. This was a coordinated multi-domain precision strike on 9 targets. 6 of those were in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and the other 3 were deep inside mainland Pakistan. Now, this was not just a random show of force. There was a carefully selected terrorist infrastructure sites, ammunition depots, radicalization centers, and launch pads for infiltrators. India's strike was structured, clean, and deliberately non-escalatory. And while social media has already dissected this to death, the point remains it was a tactical success. Then came Pakistan's response. They launched over 400 drones targeting 25 locations across northern and western India. These weren't just recon drones. Most of them were loitering munitions, some of them were Iranian-style glide drones, and others were Turkish-built quadcopters. But here's when things flipped. India's layered anti-air defense system kicked in, something I went in detail in my last video. The S-400, Akash, Barak 8, QR-SAM, and lots of legacy SAMs activated. On the lower tier, India's deployed anti-drone systems like DRDO D4S, BEL RF-based jammers, and even upgraded L-70 guns, Shilka mobile cannons, all of these used to intercept zones. The result, over 700 drones were intercepted. Almost all Pakistani drones and strikes were neutralized. But unfortunately, some of the drones did slip through, causing at least 15 civilian deaths in Punjab and western India. A tragic reminder that even the best air defense system can't achieve 100% interception. Now, India did not just defend, India responded. Within hours, India launched precision strikes using indigenous Nagastra loitering munitions and Israeli Harub anti-radiation drones. One of the most significant outcomes was disabling of a Chinese-supplied HQ-9 surface-to-air missile battery in Lahore. Now, this was a big deal. The HQ-9 is Pakistan's equivalent of long-range air shield. India's retaliation wasn't about overwhelming firepower. It was calculated, measured, and highly surgical. Meanwhile, Pakistan did something confusing. Initially, they denied even using of drones. Yes, you heard that right. Despite of wreckage showing Turkish model and real-time footage online, the Pakistani side tried to pretend it did not happen. Honestly, I don't know what level of intelligence thought that denial would stick. But nevertheless, Pakistan escalated again. Now, this time they attempted to strike military targets in India. fuel depots, ammunition storage, forward airfield, but yet again, India's air defense network held firm. All of these strikes were intercepted. However, the civilian toll rose, with some drones diverting into non-military zones. Now, to tip it off, Pakistan fired a Fateh-2 ballistic missile, most likely sourced from some Iranian platform. It too was intercepted, reportedly by a mix of MR-SAM and Akash missile. Now, this confirmed the seamless integration of India's missile defense layer. Then came India's final blow. In the early hours of May 10, India conducted its most decisive counterstrike of this conflict so far. This operation reportedly targeted 11 Pakistan Air Force bases. These were not just aircraft hangars, they were command hubs, drone launch platforms, radar zones, and missile command centers. By the end of the strike, Pakistan air defense grid was severely compromised. Runways were cratered, hangars were destroyed, surveillance capability was crippled. India did not say anything officially, the satellite images did all the talking. In effect, India established air superiority, and some might even say temporary air dominance across the theater. Now let's talk about the propaganda campaign launched by Pakistani media during the Operation Sindoor. Pakistan repeatedly claimed that it has shot down multiple Indian combat aircraft, but when asked for the proof, their minister simply said, "It's all on the Indian social media." Seriously. In one absurd case, a Pakistani government handle on Twitter actually posted a video game footage from Arma 3. It's a good game, I do play a lot, passing it off as a real strike on Indian jets. Well, that's not misinformation, that's just embarrassing. They also claim that Pahalgam terrorist attack was a false flag operation by India. But again, when asked to present evidence, there was none, not a shred. From fake images and recycled footage to wild conspiracy theories, the volume of Pakistani propaganda was overwhelming. Well, at least better than their actual strikes. So much so that it's impossible to cover all of it here. But here's what matters. Every major Indian claim came with evidence, satellite imagery, verified footage, or a third-party confirmation. On the other hand, Pakistan pushed a blatant falsehood, hoping that the reputation would replace the reality. Truth doesn't need noise, lies too, and Pakistan turned the volume up to the max. Now let's see how both the nations performed. As Pakistan retaliated with swarms of drones and even launched few ballistic missiles, India responded with a deeply integrated multi-layered air defense and electronic warfare network that left no room of error. The backbone of this defense was India's long-range S-400 Triumph system, whose high-power radar detected threats hundreds of kilometers away, giving Indian command ample of time to react. Alongside S-400, Akash Tir integration system, Akash missile defense systems formed a robust medium to short-range shield that seamlessly intercepted incoming targets at various altitudes and speed. But what truly stood out was India's coordination across the radar grid. From ground-based radars like Ashwin, Rohini, Revati, and Swati to airborne platforms like Netra AWAC, Falcon AWAC, this real-time data fusion ensured that every drone, cruise missile, or aircraft was detected, tracked, and either jammed or destroyed. Soft kill systems like spear jammers, Israeli X-Guard pods, and radar spoofing technology on Sukhoi 30 MKI and Rafale's Spectra blinded Pakistani systems. Meanwhile, hard kill systems like close-in weapon systems of LNT and AK-630 provided a last line of protection, especially against near critical assets and forward bases. The level of system integration displayed by India was nothing short of world-class. Sensors, shooters, and communication networks worked in perfect sync. denying even a single Pakistani drone or a missile the chance to penetrate Indian airspace. This wasn't just defense, it was a technological demonstration of battlefield dominance. We must not forget that India faced and defeated the largest drone swarm attack in modern military history, and did so with remarkable effectiveness. But India wasn't just on defensive. Its retaliatory strikes were precise, overwhelming, and crippling. Within hours, India targeted and destroyed critical assets at nearly all major Pakistani forward bases. Sargodha, Peshawar, Miawali, Rafiki, Chakla, Masroor, Khamra, Jacobabad, Quetta, Murid, Skardu. We are talking radars, aircraft hangars, runway, all systematically taken out. Now, Pakistan's ability to launch aircraft from these bases was essentially paralyzed. Any jet that even attempted to take off was instantly painted by Indian radar locks. Radar warning receivers lit up the moment their engines spooled. That's not tactical dominance, that's NATO-level systems integration. And also let's talk about the strike package. It was likely a lethal mix of Scalp missile, BrahMos, Spice 2000, Hammer, Rampage missile, Rudram, Nagastra loitering munition, each selected for precision and impact. Within just few hours, India had shattered Pakistani air defense network. And here's something even more impressive. India did not rely on GPS and GLONASS for navigation. It used its own NAVIC satellite navigation system, proving once and for all that India is no longer dependent on Russia or US for precision striking. Unlike during the 1999 Kargil War, when US denied India the GPS access. For Pakistan to make things even worse, the Balochistan Liberation Army launched a surprise assault in Quetta, creating a second front. Within just 2 days, Pakistan was being hammered from skies, bleeding on ground, and nearly both internal collapse and external defeat. The scale, speed, and coordination of India's response was unlike anything the subcontinent had ever seen in decades. And if you talk about how Pakistan performed, I really don't know. All I have seen is a bunch of PowerPoint presentations, some video game footage, and some footage from Indian media. All I know that Pakistan got all of its drones and missiles intercepted by India. So that's all I have for Pakistan. Now let's talk about why the ceasefire happened, and more importantly, what it really tells us. First, we need to be clear. Pakistan decisively lost this conflict. How do we know? It's very simple. Just observe the reaction. Which country celebrates a ceasefire more? The victor or the one that has been beaten down? Pakistan's leadership was almost euphoric. The Prime Minister, if you can call that position functional in Pakistan anyways, thanked the entire international community for brokering peace. Meanwhile, in India, the public was visibly frustrated. The Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister made no celebratory statements. That silence says a lot. So let's not kid ourselves. We all know which side lost. Now, what I'm about to say isn't 100% confirmed, but it is supported by multiple sources and circumstantial evidence. It is believed that India carried out a deep strike on Pakistan's nuclear weapon storage facilities, especially Kirana Hills and Chagai. Following this, the US detected abnormal radiation level. In response, WC-135 nuke sniffer aircraft was spotted flying near Pakistani airspace. And it is highly probable that US Defense Threat Reduction Agency, TTRA, is now involved on the ground with Pakistan. Why? Because satellite footage appears to show Chagai nuclear bunker obliterated, possibly by a Spice 2000 bunker buster bomb. There are also unconfirmed reports suggesting that a few Egyptian Air Force aircraft arrived in Pakistan on 12th, possibly carrying boron compounds to help contain the potential nuclear leaks. While this remains speculative, I'll hold off on drawing any definitive conclusion for now. Both Kirana Hill and Chagai, the symbolic and strategic pillar of Pakistani nuclear program, were reportedly taken out. And here's why it gets even more serious. US President Donald Trump posted a cryptic message saying that millions would have died. Now think about it. Was India carpet bombing Karachi? No. Something else was clearly happening. Something massive enough to prompt this kind of language. Now if you connect the dots, it points out to one thing. India may have not only degraded Pakistan's conventional capability, but also decapitated its nuclear command infrastructure. At that point, Pakistan was completely exposed and desperately needed US to step in and de-escalate the situation. Without that intervention, India had the upper hand to go further, and Pakistan knew it. At this point, it's clear that India fought with absolute mastery. There's really no fair comparison. The technological superiority that India displayed was overwhelming. From air power to precision strike to integration air defense, India proved it's not ahead of Pakistan. It's in different league entirely. Pakistan buying flashy weapons for optics simply doesn't work anymore. And this outcome sends a loud message not just to Pakistan but to China as well, and in many ways even to the West. India's air defense network today stands at par with top-tier nations like US, Israel, if not exceeding them in regional integration. And what was Pakistan demonstrating? Honestly, just a chaotic, sloppy propaganda machine that fell apart the moment it was challenged by facts. Pakistan has lost majority of its HQ-9 air defense batteries, and despite of multiple attempts, it failed to demonstrate any credible standoff strike capability. This entire episode may actually end up boosting India's defense export credibility while seriously damaging China's reputation as a reliable arms supplier. Unfortunately, Pakistan has exposed itself as a low IQ military power. Strategically incoherent, tactically ineffective, and somehow even after destruction of 11 air bases, total naval blockade, and complete air dominance by India, Pakistan still went ahead and declared victory. Honestly, I don't even know what to say about that. Talking about India, in a recent public statement by Prime Minister Modi, India signaled a clear shift in its military doctrine, one that promises an overwhelming response to any terrorist attack. Now, this isn't a minor policy tweak, it's a strategic recalibration over the time. May very well define the contours of peace and deterrence across South Asia. Now, I have two basic suggestions to both the countries. To India, I would say India needs to keep refining what they are building, but double down on indigenous platforms like advanced medium combat aircraft, and accelerate AI-driven warfare systems, and maybe start thinking about large missile flying trucks, aka strategic bombers. And India needs to work on its information warfare. And to Pakistan, I will say, forget chasing India. Focus on your crumbling economy, not on fake headlines. And do not waste money on military anymore. At this point, it's become more of a liability than an asset. You can't bridge this capability gap with 1 billion IMF loan. Stop pretending you can. Thanks for watching this video. Spearhead over and out.